Call the meeting to order. Let's try this again. All right, we'll call the meeting to order at this time. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. If you have any, please bring it forward to Richard, our clerk. At this time, I would ask the Chief Greg Vandenheuvel, to start, and we will start the 22 recognition awards for the fire department and for the staff as well. So Greg, if we can meet over there at that.
Worship, members of council, tonight we'd like to recognize the service of 3 firefighters. Our first being Captain Daryl Corby, who's being recognized for 15 years of service. Our next firefighter is Mark Fraser, being recognized for 25 years of service. And also we recognize firefighter Terry Lewis, who can't be with us tonight, also 25 years of service.
Congratulations and thank you very much. Thanks, Greg. We also at this time want to present our service awards for our staff, municipal staff. And the first one is 5 years, Brandon Drew. Also unable to meet with us tonight is Ryan Cousineau, 5 years, Judy Gratton, 10 years, and Jerry Waters, 20 years. So congratulations to all of those municipal staff as well.
Mr. Mayor, if we can invite the participants who are here to the podium for a picture, please.
At this time, we have our minutes of the previous meeting for November 30th. Any errors or omissions or business arising this time? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve our minutes. Councillor Daigle, Councillor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. Department reports. The first one is from the clerk on the accessibility report for the 2022 election. Richard.
Thank you, Your Worship. As part of the Municipal Elections Act requirements, a report has to be made to the council for the accessibility access during the election cycle. And what that is, when accessibility is defined as persons with disabilities, were there any issues identified? Was there anything brought up by the public? And no, there wasn't. We had a daily check of access into the voting place, which is beside the library, and there was never any issues at all, including even going over to the remote locations at Chartwell and Craigwell Gardens and Hastings Manor. Thank you.
Any questions, comments on that report? Seeing none, we have a recommendation in front of us. Councillor Knellison, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried. Our next report is from Chief Building Official, third quarter 2022 building activity summary. And who is doing that report?
Your worship, Arnie is. We're just waiting for him to show up on Zoom, but he is here.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Where are you, Ernie?
Good evening, Mayor, Rob, and Council. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you for having me tonight, and I hope to see Council in person for a year-end report, hopefully in the next month or two. So I'm pleased to be here tonight to present Council with the third quarter building permit report for North Middlesex, and what I'll do is I'll go through the report slowly. It's not a really long report, but I'll go through a few highlights, and then I'm open to any questions Council may have. So the first three quarters, the last quarter number 3, North Middlesex has done really well. It's the third quarter throughout Southern Ontario. I'm speaking to colleagues of mine and in Middlesex Centre as well. The third quarter has been very rough with housing starts, at least. And we've seen a significant slowdown, but I'm pleased to say that North Middlesex has fared extremely well. Between North Middlesex and Luca-Medulph, they've led the way in our group of Middlesex County municipalities. We service 5 municipalities for building permits, and yeah, North Middlesex has done really well. Just to highlight a few items here, the construction value so far this year, we're at 43 million compared to 29 million last year. We are, housing starts have increased from 11 housing starts by this time last year to 27, and the total number of building permits has gone up from 111 to 145. And the fees paid, just to summarize, to Middlesex Centre from North Middlesex for the first 3 quarters is approximately $76,000 is what it's cost for our service to North Middlesex. If I scroll down to a couple tables here in the report, table number 1 outlines building permits specifically issued in the third quarter and provides some totals for the year and compares those totals to previous years. Again, you'll see we've had 27 new houses this year, 8 of those in the third quarter. So eight new dwellings in North Middlesex in the third quarter is a very good showing when compared to other municipalities and how they've done. And the 27 is really exceptional. And just the total number of permits and construction value this quarter, 43 permits and 7.5 million is again, it's a really good quarter. If we scroll down to table 2, it's another summary and comparator of this year to last year for 3 quarters. For permit fees collected, you've brought in over 200,000 in permit fees and over 300,000 in development charges. Both exceeding, actually permit fees didn't exceed last year's. Last year we did have one large building permit that brought in a large fee, but development charges and construction value by far exceed what we brought in last year. Table 3 is a summary of the 5 municipalities that we provide building inspection services for. I'm providing this table to all the municipalities. I have a number of council meetings in the next week or two presenting the third quarter report. So everybody's going to see this table, and you can see how North Middlesex compares to the others and what our building division is providing amongst the 5 municipalities. So it's Generally, we're on par with previous years. Housing starts has gone down a bit. The number of permits is good. And the number of dwelling units is very strong. In Lucan, they have 3 apartment buildings in Lucan this year. That 94 units is actually a typo. It's actually 113 units in those 3 apartments that Lucan has seen this year. But again, it's a very strong year, and I'm pleased to bring that information to council. And if there's any questions or clarification, I can provide that to council now.
Thanks, Arnie. Questions from council? Councillor Cornelison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Arnie, one of the questions I have that I'm a little curious about is with the changes in the Conservation Act, how will that impact on building permits being issued?
Yeah, through the mayor, that's a great question. And so when we issue a building permit or consider a building permit, regulated lands by the Conservation Authority are applicable law. And my understanding that is that they still will regulate hazard lands. So we do have some detailed mapping from the Conservation Authority of where these hazard lands are. And my understanding is that they still will have their requirement to review applications that are, say, adjacent to floodplain or erosion hazards. I don't think that will change. I think planning, that may be a good question for planning, is how we're going to deal with natural heritage features like woodlots and wetlands, but that's sort of separate from the building permit processes. So I don't see building permit processes changing much based on what I've seen so far.
Thank you. I just have one more question that has to do with the building permits itself. When the building permit is issued, is there a timeline as to when that building needs to be completed? Is it like a year or what?
Yes, through the mayor, it is outlined in the building code that a building permit is good forever unless we revoke it. And technically, we may not consider revoking a permit until it's at least 6 months old. So if they don't start in the first 6 months, we can revoke the permit. But once they start construction, the construction can go on for years as long as there's no more than 1 year between each stage of construction. So once a permit starts, we may not revoke it until it's gone stale or stagnant for 1 year. So technically you can pour a foundation this year, wait 10 months and frame a building on top of that foundation, wait another 10 months and you can insulate that building. So it can go on for a very long time before we can revoke it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? I'll just make a comment to it. And I remember we sat here at the start of the year and we used the number of 25 for a target on new houses. And it's nice to see we're at 27 at this point now at the end of the third quarter. So nice to see that it was a realistic mark, at least that we were setting. So any other questions from council at this time? If not, thank you very much, Arnie, for your time. And we do have a recommendation in front of us to receive this report. Moved by Councillor Keogh, seconded by Councillor Daigle. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Arnie.
Thank you.
Passing of accounts.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the report in front of you outlines the municipality's expenses for the period of November 24th to December 2nd, totaling $148,798.56. I open the floor to questions.
Questions? No questions at this time? We have a recommendation in front of us. Councillor Daigle, Councillor Keogh, all in favor? Carried. Committee reports. I don't know if anybody any comments, reports on the committees at this time? If not, just after talking about setting up for resident appointments, talking with our acting CAO at the time today about we'll send out a notice to look for residents to put their names in for some of these committees, economic development, local school advisory, and I think I'm missing one, but we're going to send that out to the public for any appointments. Anybody wishing to join these committees, we're looking for people to. It's a lot going on in North Middlesex and economic development in the local school advisory committee. It's important to have input from our residents. Correspondence, Enbridge Energy, gas rates, Watson and Associates, more homes built faster, analyzing of Bill 23. Enbridge Energy Municipal Congratulations Letter. File. Source Water Protection Appointment, Dave Frame. Now, I think Dave has done that for Lucan for quite a long time, hasn't he? Adrian?
Yes, he has, Mr. Mayor, and also Ian Brenner, our former representative, has retired and he's not returning. So with council approval, Dave Frame would be appointed as our representative.
Are you making that do we need a motion for that? We would need that through a motion, correct?
I would make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
You'd make that a motion for Dave Frame, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hodgins. All in favor of that? Thank you. That's carried. South Huron Hospital Foundation request for support. In the past, we have not made donations to that hospital. We are still making $40,000 a year donation to the Strathroy Hospital. How many more years do we have on that?
Through your worship, I believe there's probably 4 or 5 years.
Okay. And because it was 2 terms ago, I believe, on that. All right. But that is something if council wishes that we could maybe put out on our social media to extend that out, because we do have a lot of residents who do border right on there on our north end that do use that hospital. Prince Edward County opposition to Bill 3. That was proclaimed into law. Lake Huron Water Supply System, Andrew Henry, the standard of care requirements. Middlesex County Clerk on the site municipal visit by warden scheduling. So they're just looking, they haven't, the inaugural meeting's tomorrow night. So they don't have a warden in place, but they are looking for a date. I think they come early winter, don't they? In the February type of thing? Is it, well, not till April? Okay. Township of Lanark Highlands, Ontario Wildlife Damage Compensation. And we filed that at the August meeting. Township of Adelaide Metcalf on their official plan, public meeting. Municipality of Lambton Shores, Town of Georgina, County of Norfolk, Region of York, Township of Pucelage, Bill 23, comment and consultation. County of Northumberland, support for resolution streamlining governing legislation for physicians in Ontario. We filed that in October. City of Mississauga, Bill 23, more homes built faster concern. Friends of Carnegie Library approved 2022 and 23 budget. Everybody had a chance to go over that. Town of Aurora modification to York Regional Official Plan in opposition to Bill 23. Municipal Engineers Association Board of Directors, and I don't know if everybody looked at that, seen that Chris Trini is the president for 23. Our county engineer. North Middlesex Community Policing Committee, minutes. Ontario Land Tribunal, the appeal of Committee of Adjustment denial of minor variance for 2095 Mount Carmel Drive. Appeal was allowed. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is, given that this appeal appears to have been successful, the matter's been settled now, and the builder can now build on that particular lot?
Through your worship, no, it is the opposite. The order in the appeal indicates that they are allowed to build on that lot as long as they meet all of the conditions outlined in that section in the document.
But there's no more, the municipality was not engaged in any more legal arguments over that particular application.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was taken out of our hands, right? Northumberland County Child Care Workforce Shortage. Northumberland County opposition to strong mayor's Building Homes Act, Bill 109. Other or urgent business, lease agreement with the Friends of the Parkdale Carnegie Library, and I believe, Brandon, you're going to do a verbal report.
So Mayor Ott, members of council, in July of this year, we had 3 facilities that we own enter into lease agreements. The Friends of the Old Town Hall, Friends of Leisure Club, and Friends of Carnegie Library. Carnegie Library requested an extension on signing that lease due to their inability to afford full utilities. They wanted to push it off until after their annual general meeting to try and come forward with a plan on how they were going to pay for those. At their annual general meeting, they had a new board of directors take over, and they have decided to sign the lease agreement that was approved by council in July. So this is a verbal update with the lease agreement attached for a motion for council to accept that lease agreement. And any questions anybody may have on that?
So questions from council on this? No questions at this time? But we do need a motion. We have already sent that agreement though to them, correct? Go ahead, Richard.
Thank you, Worship. You may recall, and perhaps you don't, that there was, when that lease agreement came up along with the other two in July, it was pulled off the agenda as a bylaw implementing the agreement. That was bylaw number 69. Now that they have agreed to move forward with that lease agreement, that bylaw is now on the agenda tonight.
Okay. So we don't need anything out at this
No.
time? All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. That is good news though. Glad to hear that. No other questions for Brandon at this time? Deferred items are in front of you. Communications, including county council. There has been no county council meeting since our last meeting. As I said, the inaugural meeting is tomorrow afternoon, I should say. And so there isn't really anything on the county to report there. Go ahead, Adrian.
Who's all put their name forth for warden for this year?
At this time, it has been the mayor from Southwest Middlesex, Alan Mayhew, and also the mayor from Lucan, Kathy Burkhardt Jessup.
Thank you.
So we are looking for a reading of the bylaws.
Thank you, Worship. There are two bylaws on the agenda for tonight. As I had already mentioned, bylaw number 69, which was authorizing the agreement with the Friends of the Park Hill Carnegie Library, and bylaw number 110 of 2022, which is a confirming bylaw for the proceedings tonight.
First and second, Councilor Daigle, Councilor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. And third and final, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, Councilor Keogh, all in favor? Carried. This time we do have to go in, looking for a motion to go into closed for the, under section 239, labor relations or employee negotiations, and that's the CAO search.